Jersey Championship Wrestling fans, I am longtime independent wrestling fan Robert. After Hours 2 was a great show from the Showboat in Atlantic City, New Jersey. The show kicks off. It was scheduled to be Joe Lando taking on Axton Ray. Lando, for some reason, did not make the show, and in his place was Dylan Mckay to go one-on-one with Axton Ray. Good matchup. They had an early back and forth in the ring. Eventually, Axton took over when he hit Black Magic, which is a move I remember low-key using. Mckay eventually bounced back, hit a standing shooting star press. Axton hits a tombstone pile driver. Mckay hits the Poison Rana, or as I call it, the Rewind Rana, followed by a Destroyer. Axton hit the Moonsault Slam that Cameron Grimes is known for. And then he picks Mckay up for a fireman's carry, kind of like a TKO, but he kind of drops Mckay on his knee, and Axton Ray defeated Dylan Mckay to open up the show. Second match was women's action as the Space Jesus, Billy Starks, took on the cutest in the world, Makito. Now, I've seen both of these ladies in action already, and both of them can really go in the ring, but I don't know if these two ladies just didn't click, or this might have been their first time one-on-one with each other. But early in the match, Starks hit a German suplex pin. They were out on the floor. They came back in. Ito hits a hanging DDT, followed by a tornado DDT. Starks bounced back by hitting the gory bomb. She tries to go for the swanton off the top rope, but Ito lifted her knees, catching Starks' back. Eventually, Starks gets Ito up on her shoulders and hits her what was called an assault driver, which JCW commentator Nick Knowledge called it. It reminded me of Quiet Storm Cradle Driver, and as a result, Billy Starks defeated Maki Ito to pick up the win. Up next was a mixed or intergender tag team match, as we saw Sawyer Wreck and the offspring of Extreme, the man to call when you want to get shit done, Big Vin, as they did battle with Casey and Brandon, the Kirks, who come out to Mariah Carey's Fantasy. Wreck and Brandon, they tease a bar fight. They were had the chairs set up. They were looking like they were gonna have a bar fight, but instead they pick up the chairs and they decided to chair joust, which was what Masato Tanaka and the late Mike Awesome did a lot in their matches. They eventually go out on the floor. Wreck tries for a cannonball on Casey, but she moved out of the way, and Wreck got nothing but the seats. Brandon eventually some doors came into play, and Brandon spears Big Vin through a door set up in the corner, while Wreck hits Casey with a Death Valley driver through another door set up in the corner. Vin hits Brandon with a Mishinoko driver. At one point, Casey's the spider suplex on both Vin and Wreck as they double superplexed Brandon onto a door that was set up on two chairs. Vin inadvertently hits Wreck with a chair. Brandon inadvertently hits Casey with a chair. The ladies get up and they're arguing, and they both chokeslam their respective partners and leave the match. And Brandon gets on top of Vin and pins him, enabling the Kirks to pick up the victory over Sawyer Wreck and Big Vin. And both Casey and Sawyer actually went to have drinks at the bar. Next up was an 8-man tag team. It was slated to be an 8-man tag team Lucha Rules match, as we saw Skittles, Azrael, Too Hot Steve Scott, and representing Young, Dumb, and Broke, Charlie Tiger and Ellis Taylor do battle with the Grim Reaper, Dylan Mckay, Marcus Mathers, and the Cambodian Dragon Yoya. Now, Dylan Mckay wound up opening the show against Axton Ray, so replacing him on Reefer's team was the Kick Demon Janai Kai. So it went from an 8-man tag to an 8-person tag. Tiger speared Yoya, and Yoya was in peril, taking the punishment from Az's team. They hit Yoya with Az does a top rope splash while Young, Dumb, and Broke had Yoya in a powerbomb neckbreaker combo. Grim Reaper eventually comes in and lights one up. Hits the Swanton Bong on Azrael. Puts Charlie Tiger in the chronic crossface. Steve Scott eventually throws away what Reefer was smoking. Gives Reefer a last rites sit-out powerbomb. Taylor gives Janai the Michinoku driver. Azrael hits the South of Heaven, which is an electric chair drop on Yoya. Steve did a top rope tope from the top rope. Mathers he hurdled the ropes onto the floor, diving on everybody. Tiger had Yoya up on his shoulders, but before Taylor could do anything, Yoya victory rolled Tiger to pin the match, enabling Yoya, Janai Kai, the Grim Reaper, and Marcus Mathers to defeat Azrael, Too Hot Steve Scott, Charlie Tiger, and Ellis Taylor. For some reason, I expected more in that match. I don't know what it was. Next up was a singles match, as we saw Everett Connors take on AEW's Cesar Bononi. Seemed like a I'm sorry to say, this seemed like a mismatch, and Cesar, I don't know how long he's been wrestling, but he clearly I think he needs more experience, or maybe he's not as experienced as I think he is. Cesar Beal tosses Connors, he pump handle suplexed him, he did a reverse curb stomp while Connors was caught in the tree of whoa. Connors eventually comes back. He does the Chris Jericho drop kick off the second rope to Cesar, who was on the apron. Back in the ring, Connors hits a missile drop kick. He hits I think a satellite into a DDT. Hits the Buff Blockbuster. He tried to go for sliced bread number 2, but Cesar countered out with a tombstone pile driver. He hits a double underhook power bomb, and it looked like, I don't know if the referee messed up. Bononi thought he won, and the referee said no, it was only 2. Or maybe Connors had trouble getting a shoulder up. Bononi brings a chair into the ring, but he stops Bononi. Connors prevents Bononi from using it on him. He uses it on Bononi, gives him sliced bread number 2 on the chair, and pins Everett, gets the victory. But after the match, Cesar attacks and until the other referees come out and stop Bononi from continuing to go on the rampage. Up next was a singles match, which saw the root of all evil, Charles Mason, go one-on-one with Charlie Evans. They brawl out on the floor at the beginning. Mason thrown into the chairs in the crowd. Evans, back in the ring, hits a power slam and a face wash in the corner. Hits Mason with a fisherwoman suplex, which we know is the perfect plex. Eventually, Mason responds with a Yakuza kick, a clothesline, and a pile driver. Evans accidentally super kicked the referee in the corner. Evans hits Mason with an exploder suplex. Applies an STF with some kind of piano wire that Mason tried to bring into play. But as Mason tapped out, referee was still down. Eventually, they Eventually the referee comes back around. Mason applies a choke sleeper. Evans bites Mason's arm to get out of it. Mason hit crossface forearms, and he brought a chair to the ring, and he's sitting in the chair, and he's telling the referee, to count her out, and he checks her arm, but she starts to get up. Starts a bit of a comeback, gives Mason the backdrop driver, but Mason eventually puts the choke sleeper on again and wins the match, defeating Charlie Evans. And it was time for the main event as we saw Slade take on Matthew Justice. I think just before the bell rang, or the bell was ringing, when Justice speared Slade. Slade bounces back with a choke slam. They go out on the floor. Justice hits Slade with a broken door, one of the broken doors that was used in the mixed tag earlier in the show. Slade was thrown into chairs in the crowd. Slade suplexed Justice on the chairs. Justice and Slade both hit each other with a chair. Justice was chokeslammed on 2 chairs in the ring. Slade puts a pair of handcuffs on Justice. And despite being handcuffed, Justice speared Slade through a door in the corner, climbed to the top rope, hits a frog splash. He pins Slade to win the main event of the show. Slade attacks after the match, but then out comes Mance. I'm sorry, before that happened, he attacks after the match. He brings a light tube into the ring, but out comes Mance Warner with a chair wrapped in barbed wire, and Warner takes a microphone. He does a promo. He's saying that Slade was one of the guys that he felt could have moved on to Game Changer Wrestling, and he basically made a challenge to Slade to go to face him in a barbed wire match when JCW presents Uncensored Saturday night, September 10th, from the Elks Lodge in Boonton, New Jersey. Well, after hours 2, which was very good, I think there's going to come a day I will go to a JCW show. I'm just not sure when it'll be. But, as I said, JCW's next event presents Uncensored Saturday, September 10th from the Elks Lodge in Boonton, New Jersey. Already announced for that show, the bad boy Joey Janela takes on Beastman. Masha Slamovich takes on Jungle Kiona. The Cambodian Dragon takes on current Impact Wrestling X Division champion Speedball Mike Bailey. And Mance Warner is scheduled to be there, but no word yet if Slade will accept the challenge for the barbed wire match. So definitely a good JCW event. They seem to have great shows, and I'm thinking there's going to come a day I will come see JCW live. Hope you enjoyed this, everybody.